Welcome back to Unhinged. I'm Jade James, and this is the project where I dismantle my own brain in public so that you don't have to do it alone. And today we're talking about ego death. And I'm not talking the psychedelic spiritual I saw the universe version. I'm talking about the one where you wake up and you realize that the personality that you've been using to survive may not be you. And suddenly, you're not enlightened, you're just destabilized. So, have you ever had a moment where you think, wait, if I'm not my trauma response and I'm not my job and I'm not the version of me that performs well socially, then who the hell am I? Because that's not awakening, that's, well, structural collapse. So, what is ego death? So, if we remove all the incense and crystals, ego death, well, it isn't about becoming nobody. It's when the identity that you built to stay safe stops working. So for me, my ego was built around being competent, resilient, being the trans woman who figured it all out, being self aware, emotionally intelligent, and being functional at work even when the rest of life is chaos. That's my brand. That's my armor. But what happens when you realize you're exhausted from maintaining it? Well, that's ego death. It's not transcendence, it's burnout with existential dread. So it hits harder when you've already had to rebuild yourself, and people don't really talk about this. But if you've transitioned and you've masked for decades and you've rebuilt yourself multiple times, you already know that identity is fluid. So when it destabilizes, your brain goes, oh, good, we're just dissolving again. It doesn't feel mystical. It feels like, can I just have like one version of myself that actually sticks? But the truth is, well, every version of you is survival. And now you're asking for intention. And intention, well, that requires responsibility. So let's get a little ugly in the middle here. This is the part that people don't really film TikToks about because ego death feels like emotional rawness, not recognizing yourself, questioning your decisions, questioning who you were and who you are, and feeling like now no one is steering. And you can't keep blaming trauma, and you can't blame your past, and you can't keep blaming the script that you were given because now you can see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's like a real shift inside. Not ego death, more accountability. And here is a little bit of brutal truth. You, well, if you're not your coping mechanisms and you have to build yourself on purpose, no default mode, no autopilot, no, this is just how I am, well, that's freedom. And freedom is destabilizing as hell because it means no one's coming to tell you who to be. No one's managing you. No one is structuring you. You have to do that. And for someone whose only stable structure is their job, like for me, that is really uncomfortable. So, am I enlightened? No. But I'm not dissolving into cosmic light. I'm more grieving a version of me that kept me safe, and I'm realizing that she doesn't need to run the whole show anymore. That's not ego death, that's my growth. And it feels dramatic because my brain loves intensity. So here's a question. If you stripped away your job, your trauma, your relationship roles, and your social mask, who would be left? And are you scared of losing yourself if you actually did that? Or are you scared of maybe having to build yourself intentionally? Like, please leave me a comment because I genuinely want to know. Like, how many people think about these things? So, yeah, this has been Unhinged. And if you like psychological self dissection with a side of humour, then subscribe. And in the next episode, I might talk about processing delay or how freedom feels suspicious if you grew up in chaos. And either way, I'm going to dismantle something. So I'll see you next time.